If you're looking for an English lesson that you can actually use to upgrade your English pretty instantly, this is the right one. You clicked on the correct lesson because today's lesson is short, but it will teach you 10 of the most popular phrasal verbs that you can add to your vocabulary and start using right away. And you'll be able to remember these because these are pretty easy, but again, they'll advance your English. If you want to learn more about this list and study with me each week in my English community, make sure to visit EnglishWithKayla.com and check out my membership. Now, let's get started with these 10 phrasal verbs that will really upgrade your daily conversations. Bring up. So when you bring up a topic of conversation or you just bring up any sort of information, it means you are mentioning it. You are starting to talk about it. A common way that we use this phrasal verb is we say, hey, don't bring this subject up. So recently, I know someone who had a pet that passed away. This pet was very old. It was very dear to them. And they said, please don't bring it up. I can't really talk about it yet. This just means they're very sad and they don't want to talk about this pet because it makes them too emotional. And that's completely understandable.
Okay, don't bring that up.
You can also be in a meeting, which is a really common place to use this phrasal verb, and you might introduce a topic or an issue by saying, hey, I wanted to bring up this idea before the end of the meeting. So this just means you want to make sure that you mentioned the idea. So if you have to bring something up, it means you have to start talking about it. And sometimes it can be difficult to bring up a topic, that's going to cause emotion or it's going to cause some stress, but oftentimes we just use this in a casual manner, like, oh, I wanted to bring this up. Oh, can you bring up this topic? Whatever it might be. It's something that you want to talk about. If you want to say that you have found or discovered something unexpectedly, you can say that you have come across it. A really common example for this phrasal verb that I want you to remember is, I came across an old photo. I came across an old photo of me and my kindergarten teacher. This just means you weren't looking for that photo, but when you were looking through different items, or maybe you were cleaning out a drawer in your house, you found this picture. You came across it.
It comes across a bit desperate.
If you're reading a book, you might come across some interesting facts that you weren't expecting to discover. So when you come across something, you are surprised to find it. To figure out. When you figure out something, you are able to solve it.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Figure it out. How?
In a learning context, you often will have to figure out math problems, which means you have to find the answer or solve it. Or if you get a new computer, you might say, I haven't really figured out how to use my computer yet. This just means you don't completely understand it. Maybe you haven't had a lot of time to explore it or, look at the different features of the computer that you buy. Sometimes if you're shopping, especially if you're a woman, you might see a piece of clothing and you can't even figure out how to put it on because it's such an interesting or abnormal piece of clothing. Maybe it's a dress that kind of ties in an interesting way. So you might say, can you help me figure out how to put this on? If you are married, I want to know, do you get along with your mother-in-law? This is a common phrasal verb that means to have a good relationship with someone or a friendship. A lot of times it's very common for people to not get along with their mother-in-law. And your mother-in-law is your husband or your wife's mother. You have a father-in-law and a sister-in-law and a brother-in-law and so on.
Did you get along with your father?
I got along with Adam.
So when we want to have a good relationship with someone, we will say, I really want to get along with them. To get along with someone means to have a friendship or a good relationship. I have a friend and she's really good at making friends and she'll invite a lot of different people together and she'll say, I really think you guys would get along. This means she thinks that we will be friends. Maybe we have some things in common. My family just got a new pet. We got a pet rabbit because honestly, I am not ready for the responsibility of a pet dog, but my kids are ready for the responsibility of a small animal, and of course, I help them as well. So the rabbit's really cute, and I tell my kids, you need to look after the rabbit when you let him out of his cage. This means you need to make sure that he's not in danger or any trouble or doing anything that he's not supposed to be doing, like chewing on things, for instance. So we talk about looking after animals, or oftentimes if you need help with your children, you might say, could you come look after my children? This just means taking care of them, making sure they aren't getting into trouble.
You're always looking after us.
It's often thought that when you look your worst, meaning, you haven't showered, you just woke up, maybe you look a bit tired, you are going to run into someone that you know if you go to the store. This phrasal verb, to run into someone, it means to see someone and it's a surprise. You were not planning on seeing them. It's unexpected when you see someone and you run into them. So maybe you're at the grocery store and you run into your neighbor or you run into your coworker.
What luck to run into you.
It's always very surprising if you run into someone you know at the airport because you happen to be taking a trip at the same time as them. A really common way to use this phrasal verb, you might start a story with your friend. You might say, you are not going to believe who I ran into the other day. I ran into so-and-so's ex-boyfriend, or someone who you were just really surprised to see. To turn down, this is a really versatile, really useful phrasal verb. So when you turn down something, you refuse it or you reject it. Now, you can just turn down food very politely. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to turn that down. Or you can turn down a date, which would be a big rejection to someone, potentially offensive. Or if you say no to a job offer, you are turning down the job offer or you are turning down the opportunity. This phrasal verb, turn down, is really commonly used with dates, like romantic dates, food, offering food, you have to turn it down, or jobs, job offers or opportunities that you have to say no to. You're turning it down.
You're turning me down?
The phrasal verb to catch up is used in two different ways. So I have to catch up with my schoolwork. This means I have to get to the current level I'm supposed to be on. Maybe you are in college and you haven't done the reading for the week and you need to catch up. You have a lot of work to do. Or maybe you were sick for a few days at your job and so now you need to catch up on your emails. It just means you need to get to the current level that you need to be.
Catching up with you.
Now, you can use this phrasal verb to catch up with someone. If you want to catch up with an old friend, you might talk about how your family has been, some things that you've done in your life recently. Maybe you talk about where you live now or what you like to do. So you're just reconnecting or talking about your life with someone so that they can get to know you again, even though you've known them in the past. So when you catch up with someone, it means you've known them before, you've been friends with them for a while. Maybe you just have had some distance or have had some time between the last time you talked to them. You can also say, I'm going to catch you up on what we've learned so far, or I'm going to catch you up on what you have missed. This means you're going to help the person get to the current level or the current spot of learning that you're on. The next phrasal verb, it is important to never give up. If you give up something, it means you quit it. Now, we can talk about giving up alcohol or giving up cigarettes. This would be seen as a good thing. It's good to give up bad habits. But if we talk about someone giving up, it means they are no longer trying or no longer putting in effort.
I've decided to give up smoking.
If you know someone who has given up a bad habit, you might say they gave up smoking 10 years ago. This just means they quit it, they stopped doing it. Maybe you're trying to stop a bad habit for a New Year's resolution. You might say, I'm going to give up social media, or I'm going to give up eating junk food. This means you're going to stop doing it. So a lot of times if you're on the phone with someone and they need to just have you wait for a moment, they might say, can you hold for a minute? Or they might say, can you hold on for a moment? This just means, can you wait? Can we pause? Perhaps you are getting to watch a movie or a show with your husband or your wife and they say, hey, can you hold on for a minute? I need to go get a snack. This just means, can you pause or can you wait before we begin? So hold on is polite, it's useful, and we use it all the time as a phrasal verb. Hold on.
Hold on a second.
I hope you enjoyed this quick lesson with me. These 10 phrasal verbs are super useful. Make sure to add them to your vocabulary and visit EnglishWithKayla.com to get the PDF when you join the membership and get access to asking questions in our community and quizzes each week. I would love to see you in the next lesson. I have so much English to teach you. So check out one of the videos that are going to be on screen or one of the lessons in the description. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.